Hey everybody, my name is Chad James, and we are back in Winter Park, Florida, where we partnered with Full Sail University over the past few months. We've been following the progress of some of the students' capstone project, an 80s-inspired fighting game called Fury Strike. So the last time we saw the Full Sail team was at Rooster Teeth HQ, where we got to check out the alpha build of the game and get to preview. We'll get to preview more of the game next month, and then also the game will be playable live on the floor at RTX.
Hey, and I'm Brian Riley, and as we've mentioned several times on these streams, I graduated from here. It's really great to be partnered with Full Sail on this project. Today we're joined by Chris Coquinos, who's also in here. He's our lead audio engineer, or lead audio teammate guy.
Yeah.
For Rooster
Teeth Animation. It's really great. We're also joined, as usual, by the Fury Strike team, along with some Full Sail sound department folks. Today we're going to get to learn all about how they put those brutal sounds in the game. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Okay, my name is Daniel Sabogal. I'm the lead producer and designer for the game.
My name is Patrick Kelly. I am one of the instructors at Full Sail University, and I am in charge of the final project for game development.
I'm Ian Vassar. I'm currently in the RA program, and I'm going to do the sound design.
And I'm Jason Strawley. I'm an instructor that teaches sound design in the visual arts program.
Yeah, so it's great to be back here at Full Sail, where I learned how to sound design, and I'm getting to hang out with you guys today, which is really neat. So let's talk about sound effects in Fury Strike. You've got so many different types of sounds in a type of fighting game. You know, it's got bones cracking, breaking, punches, kicks, body slams, all that fun stuff. So would you guys show us kind of some of how that's done?
Yeah, so we're all set up over here.
Yeah, you got like quite the spread here,
so
man.
Many things.
Are you cooking us lunch, or?
I see a knife. I see some.
If you want, it's going to get a little nasty though.
Spaghetti squash.
So basically, we're going to do the sounds for like 4 different fighting moves today, and the sound that you hear in a game or movie or TV show, it's not just one thing. Like if we're going to do the sound of a kick, it's not just the sound of a kick. It's usually going to be several different layers of things all played back simultaneously to give us that, you know, kind of hyper real Hollywood type feel. So that's what all this stuff is. So, you know, we've got some fruits and vegetables so that we can get some nasty kind of gore type stuff, blood, bones breaking, nastiness. Right. We've also got lots of different fabrics to play with to kind of match the wardrobe of our characters in the game. We've got some stuff to make impact sounds with. So we're going to do maybe 3 or 4 layers per each of the fighting moves so that later on we can kind of edit them all together and get them to play at the same time and get that big full sound effect that we
Gotcha. And yeah, just to clarify, like we have this set up. You guys are going to record these things live. Like you're going to go back here. He's going to start doing the effects, and then you're going to show like how it all comes together to make a sound, right?
Yep.
Fully
that's
magic,
the plan.
right?
Yeah, we're going to do a bunch of these layers, and you know everything will be kind of in isolation, and then we'll just kind of have to envision what the combined effect of all that would be.
Yeah, exactly. And that's which is called foley, right? Doing all of this together and putting together. You want to give like the official definition for those out there that might not know exactly what foley is?
Right. So for within the context of a game, the foley is basically any sound that the characters generate. You know, this would be different from something like, you know, the background sounds that would play. Like in, you know, our shot here, we're looking in a dojo, and our backgrounds would be like the birds chirping or like water flowing or something like that. You know, or you know, we're not also talking about, you know, like the sound design elements, which would be stuff like weapons, you know, gunshots, explosions, magical effects.
Yeah.
So you think the school would get mad if we were firing guns in here? Okay, got it.
We got knives.
That's close enough.
Yeah, and hopefully those are just for the melons. We'll try to
the
keep
knives are for the melons. I'm not juggling knives or anything.
So the foley again is just kind of the sounds that the character makes. So in this case, being a fighting game, that's our kicks, our punches, our body slams, all that stuff.
Cool. All right. So where do you guys want to get started? We're doing.
Yeah.
Well, kicks are up.
Okay.
Cool.
Should we start recording some
some
kick layers?
I want to see it all happen. I know Chris is like,
I'm like super excited.
I know you tell me like every time you get to record Foley in the office, you're like super stoked.
So
you're like, oh, we get to go do Foley today.
It's
so
always
like,
fun.
I've never got to see you do it, and this is gonna be my first time watching it happen live. So I'm excited.
So just kind of as a further explanation right here, Ian is adjusting what is a shotgun microphone, right? Which is a very much focused, hyper-focused on one area, right?
Mhm.
And so, well, you know what mic you have in there? By chance?
I don't know which one I set up.
This is where Chris is just going to geek out. He's going to get super
Sorry, I'm getting
technical.
so
He's getting
excited.
all super stoked about it.
Super excited.
This is Jason here in the control room. That is the Sennheiser MKH60.
Good. Great. It's a great microphone for this.
All right, so we're doing kicks, correct?
Yeah, that's right, Ian. So we're going to be doing our kick. I'll just start playing the animation while I pull up our cue list so you can kind of see what it looks like.
Getting ready.
Cool.
Right. All right. There, why do we need them? We got Brian. Just make
Mouth
it.
sounds.
Perfect.
All right, you got it?
Yeah, I got it. So you just want to do the air noise first?
Yeah, we're going to start with a whoosh, like the sound of our ninja's leg kind of traveling through the air.
Sound of a leg. All right.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, and ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Okay.
Cool.
Short and sweet.
What was the device you used there to make that whoosh?
This is actually, like, you ever had the blinds?
Yeah, it looks like a blind.
Oh, yeah.
Blind twister. When you do sound design, when you do Foley, you end up with some really weird stuff. I've seen guys use plungers to make certain noises. Like, you just get creative.
And it changes the sound based on where you're
Yeah.
holding the stick, right?
If I'm holding it from the bottom, it's, but if you hold it up closer, it's deeper.
I gotcha. What's the weirdest thing you've ever done Foley with?
I mean, I've taken a bunch of like floor tiles
Okay.
and cracked them up with a hammer
Okay.
and then stomped all over them. Like, done some pretty awkward things with a bunch of really weird
That's
objects.
awesome.
Okay,
Okay.
so what do you want to do next?
All right, we got our fabric
Ah, yeah.
rustling up next. So let's match the wardrobe of our ninja thug.
Ironically, the same color.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, look at that. So you guys don't even need to texture him. Just leave it like that.
Right.
No, we actually already added new textures on the
Oh, cool.
verse.
Nice.
Yeah, whenever you do something like this, you kind of want to try to match the clothing as closely as possible
Okay.
for accuracy.
All right, so let's just get something here to just kind of convey the sense of movement for that leg. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Nice dodging, Toby. Sorry, that's
Tobes.
my favorite character in the game.
All right, I think we got some really good stuff there.
Yeah.
Some of it was even in pretty good sync. We may not need to edit too much.
Yeah, I heard the little whooshes in the background, so we're good.
Yeah, we'll need those.
Now we get to the fun part, right?
Yeah, we're gonna move on to our impact sound. So this is the leg actually connecting on the hit. So this should be fun.
This is the part where someone comes over there and actually kicks you, right?
Yeah.
Not this time.
Oh, Brian was ready.
Oh, he's getting
Freak me
excited.
out.
Sound of a bruise.
Forming?
Forming, yeah.
That sounds like something I want to design now. The
yeah,
sound of a bruise.
Interestingly enough, when you do sound design, you know, it's not all just moving objects and stuff. Sometimes you got to get into the nitty gritty. Like, if you got to make an impact sound, you got to make an impact sound. So
Yeah.
Sure.
you're going to see what happens when you have to do that.
All right.
So let's get a rehearsal on that. Let's see and hear what that's gonna be like.
Oh, were you going to?
Oh, boy. Did you pack the dead pig?
Oh yeah.
We leave that in
Yeah,
Austin?
sure. Totally.
That's not my Foley booth back.
You
Back
follow
in
this?
Austin.
Yeah.
All right, Ian, you ready?
Full of dead
Yeah.
pigs and animals.
Ooh.
Okay, here we go. Let's do our deep kick impacts. And we are rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I like it.
Takes a couple passes to get the feeling right. And you just kind of change your positioning until you get it right.
So you have a, looks like maybe a leather jacket over there. Is that also going to be a layer in this by chance?
Maybe not this particular sound, but
Okay.
One thing we would use typically, right, for some impacts would be like a leather glove, like a baseball mitt. Makes a really good sound for impacts,
mm-hmm.
especially if you like slam it down on, say, I don't know,
Chad.
on Chad.
Oh, great.
Specifically on Chad.
That's
It's
really
the
why I'm
perfect
here.
sound.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and so the last thing we have on our cue list here for the kick is going to be a bone break. So we're going to want to open up the celery here.
There's a
This is-
library.
Go ahead,
There's
sir.
a library that exists called Vegetable Violence.
Okay.
Vegetable violence.
It's amazing. It's
All right.
basically celery and carrots and cabbage being
Nice.
mauled and destroyed.
This is like the classic one that everyone knows. Like if you think of like doing that sound design, it's that celery break,
You'd
right?
be surprised when you actually tell people that this is how they do it.
Yeah.
All right. Ready when you are, Jason.
All right, I'll set to break some celery. All right, let's cue it up. And here we go. Let's make it sound real nasty. Rolling.
It's so gross when you're not watching. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
watching the screen and like you just hear like ah. All right.
Layered on top of all such sorts of other stuff, it gets really.
I think that's celery's only purpose. Like they give it to you when you get wings, but let's be honest, they're expecting you to take it home and do foley with it. That's what that is.
Dude, I tried, man. When I was trying to like, eat healthier and stuff, I was like, well, celery and peanut butter. They always say that. It's awful. It's a
Horrible.
terrible tasting thing. I don't know how people can eat it, so at least it has a purpose.
Just bring it to the booth, man.
We were only going to do 4 layers for the kicks.
So, out of curiosity, for the viewers rather, when you, sorry, so what's happening right now is you're doing all the foley out here, but then when does the sound design process start for y'all?
Okay, well, technically the sound design process is already in the works.
Sure.
Jason's running our Pro Tools session right now where we're basically taking all the recordings. And I mean, I'm not certain whether he's doing it right now, but you would actually go back and take all of these individual recordings and layer them on top of each other.
Cool.
And then whenever you're actually doing all the sound design for the project, you go back and layer everything properly and top and tail and cut everything up and make your assets.
To that end, I just slapped together a real rough and dirty edit just for one sound. So it's basically just going to be playing all 4 of the sounds that we just recorded all at once, essentially. So let me just make some changes here. Let's see how this works.
We'll make our own version of it.
It's like an impulse I can't.
One of us can be
I
the
can't-
wheel. One's the work, one's the impact, one's the bone crack. I love it.
All
Yeah.
right.
So I don't think you have it. You've got
Yeah,
the
I can hear
headphones,
it.
so
It's
you
all
can hear it. I
awesome.
bet it sounds
And the
great.
viewers have it. They
Yeah, the
can
viewers
probably
do.
Jealous
hear
of
it
all
too.
of you as well.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool. So kicking is a curtain rod, a piece of cloth, and then celery.
Yeah.
Celery, yes.
Oh, don't
and,
forget
and,
the-
and your own abuse. Got it.
Yeah.
So, cool. So what's next?
I think we're doing a punch next.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got punch up as our next thing.
I imagine it would be similar to kicking.
Surprisingly, yes.
Okay. See, I'm already an expert.
I think we're
Basically.
going to do
You
it.
can work for my department.
Yeah, I
much
learned
the
so
same
much from
order.
here. You should do that sometime. Just get like people who have no idea what they're doing in the booth to just try and make sounds.
That sounds like me every day. Push buttons.
There you go.
Push things
All right,
around.
and I'm going to play the animation for the punch.
Okay,
See
just
what
so
this
we
looks like.
can get a look at it.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. And then sometimes when you're doing Foley and sound design, especially when you're doing Foley and stuff for film, if you haven't already previewed the project ahead of time, you're coming into it kind of blind.
Okay, sure.
There aren't any like magic noises in the game, are there? Like the Sub-Zeros?
No, we don't have like magic.
No, yeah,
Projectiles
it's
and
all
such.
just punches and kicks.
Real martial arts moves.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
You're saying key blasts aren't real? Come on, man. Don't crush my dreams. One of these days, I'm gonna do it. It's like every childhood dream. You see like Dragon Ball or something, you're just like, God, that'd be so cool.
Just quick Kamehameha, call
Yeah,
it a day.
Yeah, perfect.
You can scream really hard and try to scare people away that way.
There you go.
Try to. I think you probably could.
Yeah, yeah.
Start screaming real loud.
I think it's Florida. I'm just kidding.
Fair enough.
I hear those sort of yells from your side of the wall, at least once a week.
Oh yeah, we're really loud over in our department.
Disrupting workflow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Are we ready to check out a punch?
Yeah, I'm ready whenever you guys are.
Yeah, okay, Ian. So on our pudge, we're going to do the air whoosh, so the fist flying through the air. So this is going to be a little higher pitched than the one we just did for the kick. Ready?
Yep. It's all about the performance.
All right, we're rolling.
Got your leg on one of those, man.
It actually was in time, too. It's pretty good.
It's just another layer.
Yep.
That would be more like slapping rather than punching.
When you were
Okay.
saying pull people into the booth, I thought you were saying pull them into the booth to beat the living hell out of them. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
you were capturing sounds.
It is a very quiet room.
We know we can hear you scream. Rooster Teeth's VO booth. Wonderful.
So when you are doing these layers, would you say that it's best to record varying frequencies, something that's low, something that's mid, something that's high?
Oh, absolutely,
frequency?
absolutely. You'll notice that for the kick impact, Jason specified that it's deep. So a kick is obviously going to be heavier. If, like, say you had a really heavy weapon, like if somebody had like an axe or something, they wouldn't make the same sound as something with like a branch or something like that.
Right.
So if it's a heavier impact, you're going to want to use a deeper sound. If it's a light impact, you're going to want to use a higher pitch. So like with the whoosh sound, I have to swing faster to get it to a higher pitch because it's a lighter impact or lighter movement.
What's the backdrop for? To mute the sound, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at, a room like this has a lot of reflections, right? And so I'm assuming that's probably like 4-inch, I don't know, Corning.
Yeah, it's the Owens Corning
Yeah, it's Owens Corning.
acoustic insulation, just kind of wrapped with fabric.
Badass over here.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times what you'll do is you'll have rooms that are basically full of this stuff to prevent reflections across the room. You also have diffusers, which are made of maybe like wood or something similar.
And when you say reflections of sound, you mean it going out and coming back and
Yeah.
giving you undesired. This gets you the purest audio. It helps dampen.
Essentially, for what we have here, with this one in particular, being within this proximity to the fence, any particular noises that I make could possibly resonate off the fence.
Yep, you get that
It would
metal.
either make the fence move or you'll hear some ringing back off of it, so this kind of cuts down on that.
Gotcha.
Nice.
It's what people often refer to as reverberation.
But if you have a stage with a cage, we can just start throwing people into the
That's
cage.
true.
And
Little
there you
cage
go.
match action?
Yeah. There you go.
Cage stage.
You're up, Brian. All right.
I'll get in there.
All right, so what layer do you want to do next, Jason?
We're going to do fabric rustle. It's the Ninja again, so I guess we can just use the same piece of
Essentially,
fabric.
pretty close to the same thing. And you'll notice that there's a lot of repetition in this, but having the different elements and the different pieces kind of helps because one sound might be more full than the other, one sound might be lighter. You can cut and edit them however you need, not to mention if you need to make multiple sound effects, you have a big, wide palette to use.
When we made Grim Eclipse, the first Ruby game, we had a very small team, so we reused a lot of the same sounds. And the Steam forums have reflected that. Like, please change the sound.
Gets repetitive.
Maybe more than 2 jump noises. Would have been good.
All right, let's do this fabric. Here we go.
So lighter and quicker on that one. Got it.
Yeah, just kind of a little bit of a jab there.
And if you notice from the animation, he's only giving like a short little jab.
Right.
So you don't want to have this big elaborate movement because it doesn't make sense.
So you want to layer the sounds to kind of make them feel more full. Is there like a magic number of like how many layers that you want to do? Or?
Typically, when we do combat for, say, Ruby, there's always a high, medium, and low, which means, 3 sounds? And then, of course, you have your whooshes that might come before that. So what I'll do is maybe I'll have a slap as my high frequency. It's anything that has that higher register. Without getting too into the technical. The mid, that's like some of your meat and potatoes. That's kind of like where the glove, the baseball mitt might come into play. And then that's even like kind of closer to the low end side. And then the low end aspect of it is your gut. It's that low punch. It's that thud, something you'd get resonating in your subwoofer. So there's no real magic number, but it's definitely good to kind of shotgun blast the different frequencies.
So hit every range along the way?
If you can, but also be cognizant of, you have other things that it has to combat with, backgrounds or music, and they're all taking sonic space. If you think of it like Tetris, it's like carving out pieces. If you're working over a guitar track, well, that's going to eat up a bunch of the mid to high mid frequencies, sometimes even the lower frequencies. So you need to kind of find a little hole where that doesn't exist, or EQ around it. So it's a delicate balance, but...
What's the most layers you've ever put on like one?
I typically design all the Grim, which are the beasts in Ruby, right? And I have gone as far as 20 layers deep on something like that. And I'm talking like it goes from start to finish. So you've got like your grumbles and your growls and your roars, and then it gets big, and then it's 5 layers of this being pitched up and down, and 2 layers of, a seal being doing whatever. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Seals are actually really, really gnarly sounding, and crows. Crows are horrifying, horrifying sounding.
Okay.
But yeah, I've gone pretty crazy with it.
All right.
I know in some cases for like games with gunshots and whatnot, they can layer up to like 14 or 15
Absolutely.
rounds just for a single like pistol round.
Oh, man.
If you look at a lot of what people do when they record gunshots, they'll have 10 microphones on the set, and they'll have for near, mid, far. So you're getting reverberations off, say, the mountains off in the distance, because typically people do it in outdoor ranges, right?
What is that for, like 3D sound? Like on the user
Or just
end?
to layer together.
Just to layer together.
Yeah, just layer.
Yeah, and then if you listen to it in a mix, like say John Wick, what they'll do is they, in that movie specifically, will have the near right in the middle, in your center sometimes, and they'll have it kind of spread out. And then the stereo, sometimes in the surrounds, you'll have the mids and the far recordings to just make you feel like you were engrossed by this gunshot.
Cool.
Because that's the point, right?
Yeah, I'm learning a lot, but we've got to get to this.
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
I want to get
sorry.
onto this Gallagher stuff too. No,
Yeah.
that was good information.
Yeah.
But let's finish
What's
this
the
punch.
next layer, Jason?
We're going to do impacts. This is going to be a lighter impact.
Okay, cool.
You know the drill. All right. Ready?
Let's see what I'm about to
Yeah,
do. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, we are rolling.
So did you ever just like sit around and just like hit yourself in different areas trying to
Find the
To be
best spot.
perfectly honest, yeah. In some cases, when you're doing something like this,
Uh-huh.
it's all about how it sounds. You know, it doesn't matter how you go about it; it's what comes out on the end. So, if I can hit my forearm, if I can hit my shoulder, if I can hit my leg, if I get my calf, it all comes down to how it sounds in the end.
Gotcha.
And the variety is the spice of life. So the more that you can give it, the better results you'll get in the end.
The game we're working on, secret game.
Brian.
There's a noise in like the sushi area at HEB. I'm like, that alarm, that's got to be in the game. It just it sounds
Oh, no.
it's so good.
You're just like are you guys just always listening for like sounds like to like what could be a thing?
I
It's
can't tell you. It's like a blessing and a curse, because I'm watching a trailer and I'm like, I know where that's from. It's horrible. Like when I watch Stranger, I'm not gonna ruin it for everyone. When I watch Stranger Things, I'm like, I know where that sound is from the creature. Oh boy. And then like I go to HEB and I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing. So,
Apparently HEB is
blessing and curse. Yeah, HEB
Yeah,
is great.
it's like he said, it's a blessing and a curse because you can't turn them off.
Nope. It's bad.
Okay, Ian. Final layer to our punch here. We want kind of like a tendon crack. This is going to be with the lettuce.
Oh, okay.
So punching uses different vegetables.
Let us hear this.
There it is.
Bad joke.
So let's.
Brian's favorite thing to do in the world is like a one-liner pun or something. It just
feeling 'em
makes
all.
everybody- Look how pleased he is. See that? Oh,
Hey, give us a break.
yeah, come on. Stop trying to get ahead.
Ready when you are, Jason.
All right, so let's keep this crack pretty tight in terms of the timing.
Gotcha.
Last word.
And here we go.
That was the comical one leaf falling.
Just one.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that sound design is very important in a fighting game, especially because the players need feedback, right? They need to know if they landed a successful hit or if the hit was blocked. And so we have to make them very different, right? So a hit and so the player knows. And we don't really need too many different sounds, but basically those two, and all the other sounds are just the personality of the player or the character you're playing as.
Yeah, I can tell you, like, and also, like, it can be really helps with the immersion of a game. Like, playing, like, the new Killer Instinct is incredible. Like, I love the sounds in that game. Like, everything sounds so meaty and impactful when you hit them, and like, it really just brings you into the moment. So
And that actually brings up a good point, that there's usually at least 3 different types of player feedback in a game. So you've got the audio, the visual, and the tactile. And so you've got the sound of like a hit, then you've got the visual, the effects, and then the tactile lots of times will be the controller rumble. So you'll kind of hit all the bases.
It's immersive, right?
Yes.
Trying to make an immersive experience.
And
that Star Fox 64 Rumble pack.
Oh boy, I changed everything.
yeah, you'll want at least 3 different layers of player feedback, if not more, to kind of get the point across.
Cool.
All right, so Jason here in the control room. Just threw together a rough, dirty edit of our punch, so let's take a listen.
I can hear it a little bit coming from back there.
Yeah.
It's got some room noise. This is what happens when we have a bunch of layers and cameras in the room.
When you do the next one, we're just going to start interjecting like,
It's a little bit too much of the mix there.
all right.
This has
Still
been a
playing
fun
it?
stream because usually you don't want that air, but we need it. So it's like, it's kind of fun.
There you go.
Yeah,
I feel it out.
All right, cool.
Okay, great. So what's next? Are we going to get to start destroying some of the, what is it? Melon
Yeah,
cantaloupe?
we
like
got,
it.
we got a honeydew over there.
Honeydew melon. All right, cool.
I thought it was a spaghetti squash. I got excited.
So our next layer that we have up is body fall.
Oh, body fall. Okay.
Oh boy, the body fall.
I want to punch that melon.
So, what do you want to start with first?
I feel like
in
you'd
that
hurt
case?
yourself more than the melon.
Seen these. Open Jerry.
Oh.
Toby's sweet roll.
Oh man.
Nice.
So what's the plan for the body fall? You got a leather jacket here,
Well,
it looks like?
yeah, typically we do like fabric and like a big leather jacket or something for a
Okay.
body fall, but that looks more like a move actually. So I might have to do a little improv here.
Okay. Surprise, it was all a trick.
It's all a
Think
trick,
on your feet.
right?
Yeah, so I think we can kind of just approach this the same way we were planning to for the body fall, and it would just take a little more editing to kind of cut it all together. So the first thing we have up for this is slamming the leather jacket down.
And for that,
So you're dropping the microphone.
I'm gonna drop the microphone a little bit.
Drop the mic.
Kind of. Oh boy.
Proud
Yeah.
of yourself.
One of the things that you'd want to do typically, right, is you want to keep the microphone semi close to the source, but not so much that you're getting what they call proximity effect, where you're basically hearing the sound as if it's like right here. It feels
A
unnatural.
little distorted and
Yeah.
Sure. And so at that rate, what Ian did, right, is you're bringing it down a little bit closer, so you're removing some of the gap, right, because you don't want to hear the reverberation of the room.
Yeah, bingo.
But, yeah.
Basically, you want to get as close to your source as possible without causing any sort of distortion or anything. And, you know, the further away the mic is, the more of that room tone you'll hear. And I'm sure the people at home probably heard a little bit of that airiness to the room sound.
I'm sure they're judging you very harshly.
Probably.
This is the internet after all.
Right, so, you want to do this drop first, Jason?
Yeah, let's do our leather jacket. Let me hear one on the mic before we roll. I just want to make sure we're clean.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. I'm going to gain down just a little bit.
Right on.
I thought you were going to like
think we're
slam
good.
it, but no, just a little drop.
Yeah, and I mean, you can really do it however you want. You can drop it from up here. I could be down there. It all depends on how you want to go about it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to roll.
All right, we're rolling.
Yeah, since this is a roll, I'm probably going to have to work it.
All right, I think we got something in there.
Man, I feel like you could just obsess over this, like all the little sounds that you can make, and like, yeah.
Because it's really meticulous, you know, because you can't just throw anything together because everybody will call you out on it. So for something like this, like a typical body drop would be like at the end of the round or whatever, the guy, you know, the old classic Street Fighter 2, where it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, it looks like an actual move, so you got to kind of be quick on your feet with it.
Gotcha. Best Street Fighter 2 sound effect. You just remember the applause sound effect?
That was the pause noise?
There's a
I
moment, yeah.
remember that.
It did, yeah.
That's
It
awesome.
was in one of the versions.
Yeah, I know that one.
And see, that shows you like iconic sounds, like so many people can remember. Like,
Yep.
And for the game's UI, we're also working on sound design. We're trying to make it feel retro with those 8-bit kind of
Yeah.
Cool.
Some
Feel
synth
to
bleeps
it.
and bloops.
Sure.
yeah.
had some laser sounds.
Got
Yeah.
some musical stabs or whatever. Synth stabs. I feel like the 80s.
Yeah,
ones.
so we're trying to work out a balance between the old and the new, right?
Cool.
Because we still want it to feel retro, but not too retro.
Gotcha. All right, so what's next?
Ian, this one will be fun for you. We're going to do an actual body fall.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Do you ever just mess with them and be like, "Oh, that one didn't pick up. Can you? We
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
do that again."
I'm just like, I think you're just doing this because it's fun, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
So this one's actually going to be interesting because for like a regular body fall, it would really just be, you know, you drop on the ground and do a body ball. But I'm not actually certain how I'm going to make the noise for this because he's pretty much rolling around on the ground.
Yeah, I
Seems
don't
like
know.
you
I
should
guess
roll
we
it on
just
the ground.
kind of want some like syncopated limb type movement. Maybe that'll give it enough chaos.
If you could just perfectly recreate the role, it would be incredible to watch.
Just Blanca roll across the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a log roll would get it. Like just on your side.
Do a barrel roll.
There it is.
Oh, yeah, there you
All right, you want to give this a shot?
As ready as I'm ever going to be.
Yeah, don't worry about matching the picture. We'll fix this in post.
Oh man.
We don't want to hear those words ever anymore.
No, I hate those
All
words.
right, let's do it. We're rolling.
I think he's gonna keep looping it until he sees when you'll stop. There it is.
That was great, man.
Yeah, that was
But
good.
You got to take yourself out of it because
Yeah.
it's all about the performance, all about
Yeah.
the noise in the end.
Yeah, so that what we got on mic there is a lot of low frequency content. So that's going to be more like a seat rattling type effect than anything else. But I think it'll work. Let's move on. Now this is the fun part too. We need a vocalization, so we need a voice actor. I'm thinking
right.
maybe one of the
Oh.
Rooster Teeth
One
guys.
of our voice actors.
Chad,
We got our-
Sure. What do we need to do here?
we got our voice
So
actor.
It's a body drop, so it's basically like you got to sound it out.
Okay. Cool. You want me over there? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, so just kind of like an oof type thing, like wind getting knocked out.
Oof. Got it. No.
All right, let me know when you're ready out there.
So this process, when we're doing this stuff for our shows and for games, is typically called recording efforts.
Yeah.
Right? An effort recording is any sound that the character would make that isn't necessarily considered dialogue. You can kind of shoehorn some dialogue in there, but it's typically more of the you're getting punched, or you are punching, or you're jumping, or you're kicking, or what have you.
Yeah, it's always great to hear how engineers or directors are like trying to get you to make an effort sound. Like the way some of the descriptions are just hilarious. Like, no, it's not just you being hit; it's you being like hit by wind or whatever. You know, like whatever that means and how you're supposed to vocalize that.
All right, we all set?
Yeah, sure. You just want it to be just like a quick little effort. Like it's not really an impact, or it's just more of a like movement type sound.
Sounds like you do like an exertion.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll just do a few of those, however many we can get in 10 seconds.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. We are rolling.
That was like really bad. Sorry.
No, I'm just trying to laugh.
You gotta find your inner Toby.
You're just gonna keep this going. All right, there we go.
All right, we got some good ones there on the third pass.
Cool.
We're all set.
All right, thanks.
And that's the awkward part of voice acting.
Oh yeah, it really is.
All right, so I'm not even going to attempt an edit here because this would have a lot of work to do.
Ah, I thought you said because it was perfect.
It was perfect. We'll get it there. We'll get it in there. So I think the last thing we're going to do is the headbutt.
Okay.
So let's prep that.
So while you're setting up for that, you know, earlier Jason mentioned that there's a lot of noise in the recordings. Now, typically, you know, back in the day, sound design was a lot of like, well, maybe not 10 years ago, but more than. It was like the whole tape recordings, and we didn't have as many plugins as we do now, and so on. But just out of curiosity, what are your thoughts on how sound design has evolved over the past, let's just say, decade, for simplicity's sake?
Jason, you probably have more experience with that than I would.
He's making sounds right now.
Yeah,
I'll be right with you.
I'm back here in the control room. Yeah, I think the biggest change would, you know, especially when it comes to game design, is the ability to kind of use natural recordings as opposed to, you know, chip synthesized stuff. You know, we've got more RAM to play with, more processing power to play with, so it gives us the ability to kind of separate things a little bit more and have a little more control over like individual unique elements. And that's probably the biggest change has been the, you know, computer performance gives us a lot more flexibility.
Thanks, God. All right, cool.
That's for. Yep.
So it looks like we're finally onto the melon here.
This is the moment we've all been
yeah.
waiting for.
All right, cool. So what are we recording for the melon?
Essentially, for this sound effect, I think we're doing a headbutt.
Okay.
And so for a big heavy impact, we're going to heavy impact a melon.
All right.
Yeah, and this is going to be ludicrously over the top, and that's kind of what we're going for here. You ready to give this a shot?
Yep.
You only get one take, so make it count.
Well, I mean, we got two melons.
Yeah, there you go.
You get two takes.
How many wind guards do you go through?
Oh boy.
All right, and we're rolling.
Oh man.
That
was gross.
Yeah, when you're not looking at it and you're just watching it, that sounds gross. All right.
Do you see all like the juices flying everywhere?
Yeah.
Yum.
Yeah. It kind of looks like Pac-Man now.
Ooh. Rough.
If Pac-Man had a really bad day.
Right. So what layer do you want to go with next, Jason?
Let's do a nasty squish, you know, like a big like blood burst. So I guess we'll use an orange for that. You want to squish an orange?
Yes, I can do that.
Ooh.
Oh, I got a knife too. All right.
Getting real.
So you
So I
put
guess-
a cut in the orange. So like,
Got to make it easy.
okay.
Oh man, I can hear it already. This is bad.
Yeah, let's hear this on mic real quick, just so I can set the levels over here. Oh, that's gross. I can hear the juice. I mean, the blood hitting the floor too. All right, let's do this while we still got some orange. We're rolling.
Ugh.
Ah, man.
All right, we got it. That'll take a little editing, but that's really nasty sound.
Great. Who has to clean all this up?
Got it.
Is that we're doing that too?
Probably me.
No, I should have read the fine print. All right, great. So that's have you guys ever made a sound that just like grossed you out so much that you just had to step away from it? Like,
I mean, I've never personally had that because you kind of you take it out of context when you make the sound.
yeah, you have.
Yeah, I've got a few of them. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Okay. All right.
There's
You just save them.
There's a lot of
people in the mix room.
we okay. Knuckle for Ruby.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of animators, a bunch of people from the animation department to come back into the booth and crack their respective
Oh yeah,
knuckles
Yeah.
and neck and all that other stuff. Alina recorded that. It is probably the grossest thing I've ever heard. So gross.
That's what makes it a really creepy character.
Oh boy.
Cool.
PTSD over
So
here.
what layer do you want to do next?
I want to kind of have a skull impact, so maybe something that's a little more hollow sounding. You know, so I think
Okay.
earlier you were hitting the melon with that wooden dowel. So we don't want to smash it. We just want to kind of bounce off of it.
Well, in this case, I wonder if we should use the one we already cracked.
I don't know. Let's hear both. Hit the full one and compared to the crack.
Face on the ground. No Pac-Man. That's what happens when ghosts finally catch him. Walk out.
Which one is that?
That's the one that we hit with the hammer.
Okay, that's pretty nasty sounding. But let's hear the whole melon and just see what the difference is.
that was the whole melon.
Oh, it's
That's
dead.
both of we have one that was cracked in half, and then we got the one that was whole that
Like small
now got a
one.
giant hammer-sized hole in it.
I see.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well let's just roll that then.
Oh, that one's.
It's a good one.
That sounded a little better.
Bit of hollow action there.
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Ready?
Yeah.
Rolling. All right, I think we got it.
When my friend was a kid, my friend threw a rock at another kid, and it sounded just like that. My friend did that.
Your friend?
Yep.
A lot of emphasis on your friend.
Yeah. You really want it? Is that something to be proud of?
It's
You
we're
should
talking
distance
about
yourself.
sounds.
Yeah, but you really want to enforce that this kid who throws rocks at other kids'
We're
heads
not-
is your friend.
We're not
Like,
friends anymore.
Okay.
How about that?
Former friend.
Fixed it.
Oh god. All right, cool. So is that it for the headbutt sound?
I'm not sure. Do we have any more layers on the headbutt?
That's all I got for layers on the headbutt.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to do a rough and dirty edit real quick.
All right. While he's putting together the rough and dirty edit, what are some of your favorite sounds to make?
Believe it or not, like simple footsteps. Those are actually
Okay.
really fun to do.
Oh.
Like at least for me personally.
I give him a job.
What?
I hate footsteps.
Oh, really?
It's
All
all
right,
about
there you go.
just little subtle nuances and stuff. Like you watch a movie and you don't realize just how many sound effects people actually put in them.
Mhm.
So I mean, same thing for games. I mean, in the case of the movie, like somebody's only in a scene for a couple of seconds, but with a game, like you got to be with that person forever.
Yeah.
So,
So anyway, yeah, hit up Chris later. You might already have employment. What about you? What are your favorite sounds to make?
I love creature sounds.
Creature sounds?
Yeah, anything that's just otherworldly.
Making up sounds that don't exist. Is that what you're
Exactly.
saying?
I mean, if you look back at, and I always use this example, if you look back at Jurassic Park, right? We didn't know what dinosaurs sounded like,
Mhm.
and now forever, it's immortalized by Jurassic Park, right? Gary Rydstrom made the sounds for that, based off of the information he had with, household pets and
Yeah.
other miscellaneous things.
Well, remember, you can just 3D print their voice box and then blow through it.
Oh man, go hit up Hugh Grant.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it Hugh Grant? No, Grant, Dr. Grant. Hugh
Yes,
Grant.
yes, actually.
Hugh Grant's an actor. He's a different guy.
Yes.
Go hit him up
He's
anyways.
probably got money. He might have it.
So I have a question for you. When you mentioned that, like in 1980, they synthesized sounds, right? So they wouldn't go and they wouldn't record the sounds like they would today. When you say synthesized sounds, what do you mean by that exactly?
Basically using, digital processing, things like, nowadays we have plugins like, from Native Instruments where we can basically use a MIDI controller, which is, I guess for lack of a better explanation, a piano that triggers sounds that doesn't actually. Anyways, I can go down that rabbit hole for a while. But anyway, so synthesized sounds are digital recreations of sounds that don't really exist. So if you ever look at modular synthesis, like from back in the day, they had those big boards of like you patch in like one device to another, and next thing you know, you have an oscillator running through it, and it's creating a sine wave. And then you change that sine wave, and it goes from being a woo to like a woo, 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 or whatever. Then you can patch that into something else, and next thing you know, it's just creating this chain of synthesized sounds.
So to make somebody yell, let's say, you would have to take a whole bunch of different tones and then create a yell?
Yeah, but not entirely. Like I think back in the day, if I'm remembering correctly, they recorded it, you know, as they would, and it was just so low resolution, right, that it was small enough to be able to fit into the game itself, right? Think of games like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, like Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat had like very simple little wave files of just like the toasty guy that everybody remembers.
Toasty,
That's a
toasty.
perfect example. But
Yeah.
all the rest of the sounds are very limited by what the chip's actually capable of doing. So it's completely different now with the advent of computers. You can do really anything.
And that was the other part of it, right? Each of those consoles had their own chips that emitted different sounds, right?
Yeah, there's a huge difference between the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis.
Absolutely, they're very, very different, and it changed, you know, basically the sonic quality.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, Genesis was it had that tinny sound to it, right?
Yep. And everything about, and this kind of sounds weird, everything about the SNES and like NES era is very rounded and kind of almost bubbly feeling to me. It felt very friendly.
Yep. Cool. So, do we have that sound ready to check out for the headbutt? All right. Sure, it sounds great.
Yeah, we should probably bring those sounds closer together and it'd work out just fine.
Cool. Yeah, not bad for, I mean, putting this together literally on the fly.
fly.
In a matter of
Because
minutes.
normally this process takes, you know, hours upon hours to
Right.
be able to get one sound just right.
All right, cool. So yeah, thanks so much for showing all this stuff. It was really cool to like get to see this live.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you guys so much for having us out here. So hey, don't forget, we still have one more live stream back at Rooster Teeth. It's on July 10th, where we'll be doing a Let's Play on the beta version of Fury Strike. And then after that, the final version debuts at RTX in August at the Full Sail booth by Indie Alley.
Nice.
And you guys will get the chance to play the game. And then you also get to meet some of the Full Sail team. And we're looking forward to having you guys out in our area.
Looking forward to coming.
Yeah. So, man, thank you guys so much for having us out. You guys want to say anything else before we go?
Oh, this is awesome. It was great to see you guys doing all this. I never, you know, when I was here, I didn't even know this room existed, and now it's cool to see you all back here working together as a collective to be, you know, doing all these really cool things.
Yeah, it's been cool to see the game come along. You've been sending us a couple builds, getting to see how you guys have progressed. So I'm really excited to get on the show floor and play against people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see you guys for one more live stream and then RTX.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all.